We have officially entered fall now, as you can tell by the sky. One part over here will always kind of be sunny, while the rest of it's dark, gloomy, and letting you know that those days of like the long days of sun, yeah, they're coming to a close. Get ready for fall and winter time. And I guess this Ford Ranger making all types of sounds right here. Anyways, we're gonna get into this video. I wanted to make this video to kind of just not to go over like appreciation, but how does a person as like myself and other owners of like the new Edge Mustang, or even like the 94 to 04, we'll stick with that, how do they keep the cars clean? How do they keep these cars, you know, going in, I guess, like a sense, when they're not garage kept? Obviously, if you have a garage and your car's garage kept, especially if it's like one of the rarer ones, like a Terminator or maybe a Mach 1 or Bullet or something, you're going to do a little more to keep that thing, you know, the value of it up. I met a guy actually last weekend, Friday, and he had a silver Terminator, all stock, not even lowered or anything, didn't even have factory pulleys and everything. The guy popped the trunk and was like, I paid like $400 or $500 for this like sticker and manual, like $1,000 for a manual, like a brochure kind of thing from Ford that showed like everything about the Terminator itself. And you know, to each their own. I wouldn't really do that, but I guess if you're trying to sell the car as a collector, it makes the value go up a little bit to the right person or right crowd. To me, obviously that doesn't matter to me, but since Mustang week, this car has been clean, probably the cleanest it's been in a couple years, honestly. I've gone out of my way to try to like detail this car, even though it's, you know, doesn't really matter to a certain point, since like the paint is not the best, but the interiors, you know, has been pretty clean. Under the hood, you know, I've tried to do my best with it. And then we had the Ford this past weekend. There's two meets, the RV8's Finest, which was yesterday, more of a local meet, which actually was a really good turnout. Ran into some people I haven't seen in a long time, but also ran into some people that I know from my unit in the military. So that was kind of cool to hang out with them. They're pretty. It's just a reminder that they're local. So, you know, hopefully do stuff in the future with them. But I went to the Central Virginia Southern Mustang meet or something like that. They hold it once a year or twice a year. I think they do a spring and a fall one at Bass Pro. There is that video. Both videos are up, just showing the cars that were displayed. Nothing special. So if you want to see like a, you know, 10-minute video altogether for both, or 15, whatever it is, go check it out. It's some pretty cool cars there. Ran into some people that actually follow the channel. A couple people had a couple brief conversations with them. It's cool to talk to some people actually that follow the channel, always. But let's get into this video. Besides all that, the car did win an award on the Saturday show at the Bass Pro. I entered this in the 94 to 04 modification or Mustang for that year, and won an award for it, which was actually the first award I've ever won at like a car show. But I don't go to many car shows anyways. But to say, like, that's kind of why I wanted to get into this video. Now, for myself, what I've done, obviously this is a swapped car. It's been a swapped car since 2016-17. And what I've done is, the best advice that I could give is to keep a car like this clean, that, you know, used to be daily driven, and at the point, you know, gets driven some here and there, but doesn't have a garage. You could buy a car cover if you wanted to, or just drive it. You just try to, like, don't cheap out on parts. Also, at the same time, you know, get a good paint job, which this car will eventually get, probably either this winter or, you know, early spring when the 4Runner gets done as well, because I'm going to try to do both at the same time, or one right after the other. But go along, like, as far as like upgrading stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, if you follow the channel this whole summer, I've redone all the interior, taking the tent off, replacing this window, just replacing stuff that needed to be replaced, like the it's starting to pop out right there, but you know, the weather rail gaskets, or the weather stripping, or whatever you want to call it, the whole dash. We did the radio actually this past Friday too, so had that done. Just, you know, replacing stuff that needs to be replaced. I get it, you don't want to spend the money, but at the same time, you can also upgrade stuff to make it look better, as such as the seats. The Brom racing seats, took the dingy 99 to 04 factory ones out. God, those were awful. But you also have like a backup camera, so that backup camera now allows me to, you know, park the car. Upgrading the exhaust to a stainless steel exhaust there's so many options out there to do that. That way you don't have to, I just wouldn't cheap out like going to like a muffler shop or an exhaust shop and they're like, we got the Flowmaster Special. They're not Flowmasters, but they're the unbranded ones, and after 1 or 2 winters they rust out. So stuff like that. Just spending the money on aftermarket stuff like this. Obviously the paint, oxidized or whatever, that happens. The car does get driven, but stuff like this, kind of just protecting the car with like an oil catch can, a good tune, a really good cold air intake, making sure the hoses and all that are good. Don't cheap out on parts, stuff like that. At the same time, we've done a little bit of engine dress up here. I think it looks a little better. Also kind of just protects it, but at the same time, it's not really for that. Just a little little engine dress up. That is from Anchor Room, like the trunk carbon fiber mat I have in there as well on the back side. But these are really good wires. I had somebody that knew what they were doing with the wiring, and this is just like a really good, military grade is what he called it. But they're kind of, more expensive, on the expensive end for the cables and stuff. Fuel systems, like a Ford Innovations fuel system. If you're going to go carbon fiber stuff like this, like the carbon fiber mirrors, make sure it's a good company or a good brand. Carbon fiber also just has a tendency to, the clear coat seems to fail in those, so you always want to respray them with a better clear. Like leaky taillights, I haven't had an issue with these. The American Muscle ones, I had 3 sets of those, the Raxiums, and they always found a way to start leaking after like 6 months. I've had these for almost 2 years, 0 issues. I don't know, wheels, like some people buy those XXRs. I had a set a long time ago. The clear coat started, or the finish and the clear coat started peeling right after 4 or 5 months, and they wouldn't warranty it. And then they wanted to say like, oh, just send the wheel in. I'm like, buddy, I don't have another wheel. So just like the Cosmos Racing, so it's just stuff like that you got to spend money on, but also the maintenance and stuff. And at the same time, I'm not saying this car is super clean. I mean, look, the bolts are somewhat rusted there, which does bother me and stuff like that. But I think I've made it to, I've owned this car for over 10 years. I think this car has held up very, very, very well. Like, replacing the inner fender liners with the OE ones instead of the plastic ones. Going out of the bubble to do, searching for the correct parts, and spending a little more time instead of just, giving up right in 5 minutes and trying to just feel like, oh, that's it, I'm just going to get the cheap stuff. To me, that's just, if you really care for a car like this or something like that, that's why I appreciate it so much, because, when I buy something, it's my, hard-earned money, I guess. And you kind of just want stuff to be right, but also some people are different. Some people don't care. Some people, just stick a good, powerful engine in the car and put a blower on it or whatever and don't care how it looks. I'm a little different. That's just me. Also, if you didn't see, Late Model Restoration released their own version of the 99-01 from Bumper. It is actually by them because it is stamped LMR from the photos that they showed. That is a bigger news than P. Diddy and his baby oil fetish. That broke the internet for a little bit for the car community, specifically the 99-04 guys. So I wouldn't be able to sell my OE one for $1,500 now. It'd probably sell for $600 at this point, but I don't plan on selling it anyways. But that's a good joke for what it is. But that's cool that they finally were able to do that. So now people are waiting on these rear 0304 Cobra bumpers. I'll be the first one to buy one of those, and then the amber taillights I think is next. But maybe one day, we'll see. So we'll see what LMR is cooking up on. I'm surprised American Muscle really didn't jump on trying to get that, but LMR is always, they're always ahead of the curve a little bit on that. But yeah, overall, guys, I just wanted to make this little video kind of talking about that. Just ways, how do you like get a car like this to keep it semi-clean, but also just where it's not falling apart. You just take care of the stuff. You look for vendors or sites that are legit, that are selling, stuff that like out of Mach 1s and Cobras and good condition. You got to spend the money a little bit to buy it. You buy the stainless steel exhaust. You don't cheap out on parts, wheels, tires, taillights, whatever. The car world is abundance of cheap shit. At the same time, spending a little more money for the best part, because that company stands behind their name, whether they're a small company or big. Just spend the money, pay once, cry once, get it over with, and you won't have to worry about that conversation again, because you buy that part, 6 months later or a year later it breaks, then you're kind of having that conversation with yourself. you have to spend double the amount of money, whether you're installing it or having to pay somebody else to install that part, whatever it is, like control arms. I remember that back in the day when the bushings were blowing out and stuff. I didn't get a set of those. I spent the money and got a really good set. So yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by for this video. If you did see the car at any of the meets, if you got pictures, you can always tag me in the social medias that I have. Links are on the channel in the About Me, I guess. Appreciate everyone that did stop and, you know, complimented the car that I talked to, asked questions about it. You know, it is what it is. So a lot more coming in the future, so we'll get to it when it gets there. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I appreciate every single one of you stopping by. Subscribe for future content as we roll into the fall and winter season. We'll see what the plan has in store for this car and the 4Runner and more. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.